One of the great things about consuming anime, and when you get really into the shows and really into these stories, is you start looking into those that write it, those that direct it, and yes, those that voice it. These voice actors and voice actresses that pour their emotions into their character, and you can really tell at some point who really either has a certain knack, a certain quirk, or just the passion that is really required to make these characters more than just drawings on the screen. And while in the past we have had series that dive into voice actors and voice actresses, you have like side characters with series like Sakura Sao. You had Shirobako and its look into basically the whole industry and how they create anime, and really got into, voice actors and voice actresses at some point. Then we had Seiyu Life, that was a very grounded slice of life perspective of what it's like to live as a voice actor. And then we have Q, which is a show that's airing in the Winter 22 anime season, which is not really taken so much as a grounded slice of life perspective, but more in a fantastical idol perspective. But this is my thoughts on the first 2 episodes of the series. It's going to be running for 24 episodes, so let's jump into it. Q opens up following a whole bunch of girls. Typically when I do these synopses, it's like follows one person or 2 people, but no, 15 girls who are all being employed and new hirees at a new company called AirBlue. And AirBlue is focused on hiring a bunch of girls in that are unachieved. They're girls that are fresh in the industry, they've never had a role in voice acting, and they're bringing them into this new location. It's like so new, the girl, when she first arrives there, the furniture's not even up yet, so it's a fresh new building, but it's all being owned. The owner themselves is actually somebody who's been in the industry for quite a while. So it does have some voicing behind it, like somebody that can pull some strings to get these new girls into roles. And immediately the moment they get there, they introduce all these girls, they immediately go right straight into doing practices. Because what we find out later is there's actually one show that's still, kind of bringing in voice actors in order to fill all these roles for this new shonen sports show. So when they do this training, they do like this little Hamlet exercise. They read roles from Hamlet, and they go through all the girls and they play out their roles. At some point they have, again, Haruna, who's kind of one of the more, main characters. So a lot of focus is on her. And also this other girl, Maika, who is seemingly like a big sister type. She has a bunch of siblings that she takes care of. And the 2 of them essentially turn Hamlet into a Yuri show, which was interesting. But then following this, like I said, they go and all of them go to the studio where they're all trying out for these, like a whole bunch of different roles that are available for this big new shonen sports show. And everybody takes their turn. They go in there, they try out for different roles that they think they'd be good at. Haruna specifically goes in there and they seem like they want her to try like multiple roles. They don't just want her to try the one role that she thinks she was good at. And then everybody leaves, and then later on when they get to find out, who got the roles, which was only about 3 people, which is not Haruna, which is a little bit of a bummer, but they still end up bringing her in. Apparently there's a student A role that she can take. Additionally, on the side, they at some point bring everybody in to talk about a new idol project they're doing. This new idol project that's being kickstarted through crowdfunding, and essentially, everybody's a little bit mixed by this, because everybody's kind of there to become voice actors, and here's this role that'll be idols. And this is where we're kind of introduced to the girls, look, as most of us that have actually been in the anime sphere for a while know, voice acting really isn't all the work. I mean, there's a lot of, and especially these days, it's a very popular thing for a lot of voice actresses to become idols too. It's kind of a side gig. Stage plays, idols, music CDs, all this kind of stuff is side stuff that is actually a majority of it. Typically in the past, yes, there was a lot of cases where most voice actors and voice actresses, it's all they did. They may have done some, live action films and stuff like that, but typically it's kept just to those voicing roles. Whereas these days, if you look into any voice actor these days that are doing current roles, you'll probably find stage plays, you'll find, again, idol performances and stuff like that they're doing on the side to supplement. So we get a little of that perspective, a lot of the girls being a little hesitant on that, and eventually they end up getting a group of girls that all want to be a part of this particular side project, and that's pretty much where we've gotten so far with this series. Which gets me to my thoughts on Q. I'm kind of mixed on this show. Now, coming into it, I kind of hope that the perspective here would be from like a vantage point of something like Seiyu Life. Like I said before, Seiyu Life was very focused on giving a very grounded perspective on what it's like to be a voice actor. And additionally, that show kind of introduced a lot of actually very prominent voice actors into the show itself. I think they even had the voice of Goku at some point show up and give some pointers to the main cast on how they do their job. So like I said, it was a very grounded and interesting look into what it's like to be a voice actor. And like I said, Q is giving those steps. It's actually going through all these different steps that what a voice actor would have to deal with on a daily basis, going to different locations, trying out for voicing roles, each one of them having something they're trying to, I guess, inject into their persona, and how that fits with the particular hiree and what they actually want. And again, technically getting into the idea that it's not always about just doing voicing. Sometimes you have to do other jobs to pay the bills. But unlike Seiyu Life, what I think Q itself is doing is pulling it a little bit out of the realm of reality in the idea that it's taking it from a very Love Live idol show type of perspective, where instead of having the cast feel like normal people just doing a job, they're all very archetype. Every single one of these girls is an archetype. And that's, again, not very grounded. And yes, granted, it would probably be very boring if it opened up with 15 ladies coming into a room and everybody just act like normal human beings. Instead, we have, yes, the Chuni character comes in, the Lolly character comes in, the I'm overly exaggerating English girl come in, they all have their archetypes. There's the mama character, there's the little sister, the timid girl. Everybody has an archetype. And again, like I said, it's very idol show-esque. And I think that helps to make it more fun. So if you are a fan of things like Love Live, typical idol shows, you're going to enjoy this show because every character has a persona, has a character archetype that they're going with. But again, it's taking it away from, again, something like Seiyu Life, where it is a grounded slice of life show, and turning it more fun and entertaining, but unrealistic. But that's not to say this show is bad. I'm just trying to put this into a perspective. With that out of the way, the rest of the show is fine. I do like a lot of these characters so far. Their archetypes are fun. I got a real huge kick out of Yuki. She's very cute. It kind of hits on this idea that she's trying to make it successful because her father would never allow her to do it. Her father wants her to become the next owner of their restaurant. Again, Micah is more of the big sister type. And this goofy little play they did with Hamlet and turned it into Yuri was hilarious. But I think outside of those two elements, it's not as if anything so far it's doing really strong. Just an introduction and just kind of starting to piece together what this industry is. Which gets me probably to my only true negative I would give this series. It's got way too many characters. Now, granted, we have 24 episodes to work with, so we could probably get plenty of time to get into everybody. That means we can have an episode for every character, so that's 15 episodes, and then we can have 9 episodes of other stuff, but it's still a big cast, and it's really hard to really follow. And I think that's probably the bonus in why they have such very defined archetypes. It's going to be easy to remember who's who, because you're basically going to define backstories and characters and their stories based on their archetypes. Oh, yeah, the goofy little kind of screechy voice girl, yeah, she has this whole problem with her father in this restaurant. Additionally, it looks good. For having this many characters on the screen at all times, it looks decent. I think they're doing a good job of keeping on model, and the voicing itself is really solid. And I think it's important to note that this is based off of a mobile game. I know, I probably should have mentioned at the very beginning. Everybody's like, oh crap, you should have told me that earlier. No, it's based off of a mobile game that's around the concept of training the girls to be voice actors. So it's like a management simulator. So the question in the end, obviously, is, Andrew, should I check this out? This is the thing, is I think this is a really great show if you like idol shows. And I also think this is a great show if you want to look into the anime industry and look into voice actors themselves in a way that's going to be more entertaining than just a straight slice of life show. If you want a straight slice of life show that's about the voice acting industry, again, Seiyu Life. But if you want something that's more bubbly and more in the vein of something like an idol show, I think this is where it's at. Because the thing is to kind of judge this early on, it's very difficult because yes, I can see this being a story that will have insights, but at the same time, there's certain aspects about it that I don't think are really true in the actual world of anime industry. I mean, one specific point is they have this studio is trying to assign roles for this big shonen sports show, and they're always talking about, well, if that's what the mangaka wants to voice their character, let's do what they want to do. It's not typically what I've seen in this whole stuff. I mean, Shirobako and even I think Seiyu Life and Girlish Number, there's a lot more other cases where I've seen where they usually portray it in a way of whatever is the most benefit to the show's popularity. They want popular seiyus to take on roles to draw people in. Seiyus are very popular, and you can sell a show on a name alone. Kenjiro Tsuda has sold plenty of shows. Ria Kajimiya has sold plenty of shows. They want not only people that will have a name to them that they can stick on the label, but they also want people that will sell things outside of the show as well. People that actually have good voices that can sing. That, again, going back to the whole idol thing that they were talking about in the show itself. So this early in the show, I don't know if this is going to do a proper portrayal of the anime sphere and what seiyus go through, or if it'll be, again, a more Love Live and fantastical perspective of what it is. So we'll have to wait and see, but so far, it's got promise. It's got a lot of promise there to be a very entertaining look into the industry. But that's my thoughts on Q. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below, comment, let me know what you thought of the series, if you're going to be checking it out. 24 episodes is a lot of investment. I hope it turns out good. Subscribe if you haven't already, share this video if you can, support us on Patreon or through our tips link in the description below. We definitely appreciate everybody does, and y'all take care.